The numbers are staggering. More than 80 Kentuckians die every month from prescription drug overdoses. That's more people than are killed by car accidents. And as Scott McGee shows us, it's a growing problem. Scott's been investigating, and here's what he discovered in tonight's Local 6 Extra.
It really is a growing problem. For instance, in 2000, 403 people died of prescription drug overdoses in Kentucky. By 2010, that number had jumped to 984. 3 out of the 4 states in our region had death rates from prescription drugs significantly higher than the national average, with Kentucky coming in at number 5. What is killing so many people? Where are the holes in the system? And how are addicts getting these drugs? We investigated these coroner records, doctors' records, and talked to drug addicts themselves to try and come up with some answers. The words may say one thing.
Hey, I'm going to meet Sandy at 10 o'clock tonight.
But the message is much different.
That means Lortabs, 10 milligrams.
Stephen asked us to hide his identity for good reason. He has a job, a home, a car, and a neck injury that has turned into a serious prescription drug habit.
It's horrible. It's so frustrating.
Frustrating because he wants to quit, knowing the pills have him on a road with just 2 destinations.
Death.
Or
jail time.
It's awful. You don't think right.
It was jail for Stacy Brown. She's facing 5 years for prescription-related forgery. What's interesting about Stacy and Steve is that both had legal pain prescriptions. Jail has forced Stacy off them, but Steve still has a legal prescription for 3 a day. That's 90 a month. And that, both say, is the first problem with the current system.
It's not that hard for him to get them.
Where they disagree is who is to blame.
I don't blame my doctor one bit.
The doctors aren't doing their part.
99% of the doctors do the right thing.
But Kentucky Attorney General Jack Conway says the Kentucky Board of Medical Licensure is not doing enough to stop the 1%.
Kentucky's been accepting doctors and licensing doctors that have been sanctioned for overprescribing in other states.
And we wanted to know if that was true. So I looked at the records of the almost 700 out-of-state doctors who applied for a medical license in Kentucky over the past 2 years. I found 8 with a history of drug issues. 1 busted for inappropriate prescribing in New Jersey. Another hospitalized in March 2011 for severe withdrawal from pain medications. Plus 1 with a history of taking pain medications to the point he was sanctioned by 2 Texas hospitals. All 3 were granted Kentucky conditional licenses, and 1 approved just 6 months after she was hospitalized for detox.
Any doctor that's had a problem, they have some type of extra scrutiny when they apply.
Dr. Preston Nunnally is president of the KBML. We asked him why the board would approve doctors with a history of drug abuse or overprescribing.
Why not just say, you know what, why don't you take your business somewhere else?
That's a good question, and it's something that we're dealing with right now, trying to decide, if that's the best approach.
But I also looked at how the KBML deals with in-state doctors who receive prescription drug complaints. We obtained records from 2000 to 2008 and found both complaints and cases in which doctors were sanctioned peaked in 2003. And while several problem doctors had their licenses revoked, others did not. Like Dr. Paul Claycamp, who, court records show, overprescribed pain meds even after patients' needs should have raised red flags. The board suspended his prescription privileges and put him on 5 years probation, but he kept practicing medicine.
We take it very seriously, and we've been revising the way we deal with this.
Why the apparent discrepancy?
Now we're doing it on a case-by-case basis, but we're looking to standardize that.
In fact, Dr. Nunnally says the board is already taking a firmer stand. 9 doctors have surrendered their licenses so far this year. Our investigation has found cases of doctors with known prescription drug issues allowed to continue to practice medicine in Kentucky, issues the Board of Medical Licensure says they're already beginning to address. But what do the experts say? We asked a pain specialist about what he thinks will help reduce prescription drug abuse. And what about that addict and his coded text message? We're going to show you those results next. Welcome back. We are talking tonight about prescription drug abuse. Now, we've already heard from an addict, the top cop in the state, and now a doctor who deals with this issue every day, and he has his own prescription for fixing the problem.
It is a major problem.
Dr. Lakshmaya Manchakani knows better than most the problem of painkiller abuse. He owns 2 pain management centers. People who are hurting or claim to be hurting come to him.
I have more suspicion than other people do, other doctors do.
But it's what other doctors don't have, his training, that concerns him.
Avoid high doses.
That's why he's critical of some of his colleagues when it comes to dealing with pain.
They're great doctors, most of them, and they don't even understand that sometimes we are causing damage.
That's the conclusion of this study by Dr. Manchikani, published in the latest issue of Pain Physician Journal. In it, he says what few doctors would admit to.
It is easy for a doctor to get the patient out of their office, to satisfy them.
He wants doctors to focus on how much patients can move, not how much they hurt.
Not everyone with pain needs opioids.
No one knows that more than Steve. He has a legal prescription for 3 Lortab a day, $90 a month.
I've got a bottle right now that is 100% legal for me to have.
But he's still spending about $1,000 a month to feed that 8-pill-a-day habit, a habit he says he's trying to drop.
I'm not leaving an option on the table of not beating this thing personally.
But it's not easy, and that text message, that was. It paid off with pills in less than 30 minutes, showing just how far we have to go.
I don't see it going away anytime soon, unfortunately.
Something else a lot of people can agree on. Well, having talked to drug users, doctors, law enforcement about this problem, they do disagree on a lot, but they do share some issues on reducing the problem. First off, better educating doctors and patients on the proper use of these pain meds. Second, a national prescription drug monitoring program. One problem, Dr. Manchikani says, is that Missouri doesn't have one at all. So it's very easy for someone to doctor shop, come to him. He has no idea that they've gone to a doctor in Missouri.
So is there an alternative for bottles like this that might have 90 or 120 pills in them and tempt people to start taking too many?
Right, you can get up to 4 a day, so 120, that is so much, a big problem. There's one thing called a pill guard, something that actually it's a Kentucky company that's working on it. It would basically be a lockbox for these pills. It would only dole out one every 3, 4, 6 hours, whatever you program, and then if you tamper with it to get more pills, the pharmacist will know, and then you're cut off. Not a magic bullet, but something certainly that could help.